Live Virtual Toolkit for Student Success and Family Connection e-Series. Tonight, we thank you all for joining us for session 8 of our series. We've been doing this since August, and we're really pleased that we have had this many sessions and had the participation level that we've had thus far. We're really appreciative of all parents and family members that take time out of your days to come and join us and learn a little bit more about all the resources and services that are available to your student and to your family as we all navigate this semester through a pandemic. We really appreciate all of you all attending. Tonight's session we're really excited about because tonight's session is about testing your trusted advisor skills, knowing when to panic and knowing when to praise. This is our last parent panel that we will have for this semester. We hope to formulate a few more for the spring semester, but this is our last parent panel. We're really excited about all of our guests that we have on the call tonight, and I will introduce them shortly. I do want to put a reminder out there to everyone that we will be recording this session. If you have questions or concerns about it being recorded, please do not hesitate to call attention to me in the chat feature, and I'll do my best to reach out to you directly. And we will answer your questions as best we can, okay? I do want to make sure that I point out the purpose and the rationale on why we have chosen to do these e-series workshops with all of you. We really feel like it is an extension of New Maverick orientation. Whether you just came through New Maverick orientation this past summer or several summers ago, it's always a good idea to have a refresher on what the university offers and how we're helping your students succeed, not just through a pandemic, but every single year, every semester. We're just continuing those services virtually in most cases and scenarios. And so we want to make sure that we are providing you the appropriate tools necessary so that you're able to help support your student whenever they have a question or concern. You can just reach into your toolkit and say, hey, have you tried this? Have you gone here? Have you spoken to this person? The more connected you are as a parent or family member, the more your students will persist. They will, and that they will succeed from year to year. And so we're all partners in this, and that this is the reason why we have put together this e-series for you all. We started back in August. August 25th, I believe, was our very first session. And that seemed like it was so long ago, but really it was just a few months ago. And we are getting ready to round out our season over the next couple sessions. So it's been a really good ride, so I'm really excited for the next few sessions that we have, and I hope that you come back and join us. Whenever we have these sessions, there's always something to learn, and we certainly want you all to gain something from your experience when you come through this e-series. You know, first things first, we want all families to be able to identify UTA campus resources and benefits and services so that you're able to explain the information that you gain from these sessions to your students and other UTA students that you may be familiar with, whether it's friends or roommates or fraternity and sorority sisters that you've met along the way that have that are students here on our campus. We want you to be able to convey that information that you gain through these sessions to your students and others. Also, we want you to be able to support your student academically and with their personal and academic concerns. And so this is an environment, we want to create an environment where you feel comfortable asking questions, sharing your experiences with others so that we're all learning together, so that you have the best tools possible to assist your student navigating year to year. And then ultimately, we just want to make sure that this is a valuable resource to you as their parents and family members. We want to make sure that you are getting what you hope to get out of every session. So the only way that we know that is if you let us know, give us some feedback. There will be some in-event survey questions that we will have at the very end. It's just a way for us to get some real-time feedback about how the session went. And so Zindi, our student liaison slash designer, will be she is on the call with us today, and she'll pose a question in the chat. And all we're asking is if you just give us a thumbs up or a smiley face or a sad face to let us know if this was a good session or not. We also will be giving out an end of series evaluation so that you can give us your feedback over all of the sessions that you've attended. I know that we have some repeat families on our calls, and so it'd be very interesting to hear your feedback so that we can improve for the next semester. And then, of course, as always, we do have a few housekeeping things that we need to make sure that we cover. Just make sure that we are all being very communal. We're all family here. Just make sure that we keep the environment safe and positive, and make sure that everyone feels comfortable sharing their thoughts and feelings, whether that is turning on a microphone and sharing that sentiment, or whether you're putting it in the chat feature. We just want to make sure that we are all being cognizant that this is a public space. Then also just make sure that you're checking your microphones to make sure that they're off when you're not speaking. Certainly, if you have questions, throw them in the chat feature. Zindi and I will be in the chat helping to address any questions you all may have. We'll answer them as best we can, and if there's something we don't get to, we certainly will circle back to you all and send out a response through our Maverick Family Communication Portal. And then lastly, if we get to it, I know on Tuesday's session we didn't really get to that picture, but I certainly want to try to get a family picture with all of you to commemorate the experience. So we will call out toward the end and ask you all to turn on your cameras and throw a Mav up so that we can take a family photo, okay? All right, well listen, I don't want to talk too much because we have some great presenters today, or guests. We have some special guests on the call with us today, and I'd really like for you all to meet them. Whenever we have folks that are guests, we like for our parents and family members who are not panelists to turn off their screens, and for our panelists to turn on their screens. So if I can get Alonda and Tracy to keep their cameras on, and if everyone else can have cameras off, you'll be able to identify that these are your special guests. I'll give them a quick moment to introduce themselves and their families and how they're connected to UTA. But really, this opportunity to speak with other family members is invaluable. What I've learned over the years in my career in working with parents and family members is that you learn best from other family members, and that's why we have these parent panels. So please ask questions. I have a list of set questions that I have for them in case you all haven't thought about what you want to say yet, but definitely jump in, put them in the chat feature, and Zindi and I will pose those questions to the group if it is a general question, okay? Everyone know the rules here? Perfect. All right, well, I'll go with whoever I see first on my screen, and I'll allow you all to give a brief introduction of who you are and who your student is, just so that everyone knows who you are, okay? So we'll start with Alonda. Alonda, please introduce yourself and welcome. Alonda, we can't hear you. Your microphone is muted.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
I know that whenever I do that, I always say rookie move.
Yeah. I've been on here once today talking, but okay. I'm Alonda Ford Harris. My son is Isaiah Ford. This is his second year. On the picture was my mom also, Rodessa. And I am in Missouri, and Isaiah now lives in Texas. So he's excited to be there. And I'm also a graduate of UTA.
Alumni in the building. How many other alumni do we have on the call today? Raise your hand, raise your virtual hand, I should say. Raise your virtual hand if you're an alumni of UTA. All right, Ms. Navarez. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Do we have any other alumni? No one else. It's okay. We excuse you, right? Right, Ms. Everett? We'll allow them to stay on the call, right?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alonda, for introducing yourself.
Uh-huh.
Our next guest is Tracy Rhodes. Please help me welcome Tracy.
Hi, I'm Tracy Rhodes, and I am married to an alumni. We have 5 children. Our oldest is pursuing a degree at UTA still after many years of floating around Texas universities. And then we have 3 juniors and we have a sophomore. I have everything from an accounting major to a poli-sci major to a psychology major to a advertising, PR, Spanish major. So we kind of run the gamut at our house. So
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tracy, for introducing yourself and your family. I know that one of your children works in our office. She works with the New Maverick Orientation Office. And I honestly didn't make the connection that she was your child until I saw you all together. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're Lanny's mom. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. She's great. Great to have in the office.
We actually have 3 of our 4 that are going there right now work on campus. So 2 are over at the Welcome Center, and then Lainey is with you in orientation.
Yes.
So
yes, I'm sure you all have come across 1 or 2 of their children.
Yes.
Maybe during your recruitment phase or orientation at some point, I'm sure. Well, let's get started. Tell us a little bit about your UTA experience. Tell us a little bit about what was the main key factor in you supporting your student coming to UTA.
I'm sorry, I didn't know which one of us you were talking to.
Either one is fine.
Okay. Well, for me, I encouraged Isaiah to go because he is a little shy, and I was really concerned about him being somewhere where he didn't have somebody that he could rely on or get in contact with. And my cousin lives there in Texas, so he attends UTA and lives with her.
Nice. I have a question in the chat. Alonda, what part of Missouri are you from?
I'm in Kansas City, Missouri.
Kansas City. Miss Connor is from St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. How about you, Tracy? What helped you all make the decision to come to UTA?
Our kids, we were local. We're only about 45 minutes from UTA, and our children had done choir camp there every year since they were freshmen in high school. And to them, UTA just felt like home. They knew the campus by the time they were wanting to attend college. Honestly, they never even looked anywhere else. We never toured another school. It was UTA from the beginning for all 3 of them. And again, we had 3 that were attending college at the same time. So obviously financial reasons wanted them close to us. And we told them if they got a full ride, they could go anywhere they wanted to go. And nobody, I mean, they really didn't want to pursue going anywhere else. They all wanted to attend UTA because it felt like home. They knew the campus and knew a lot of the professors there, even through their choir camp. So
that's perfect. I love that story. Tell us a little bit about any notable experiences that notable obstacles or transitions that any of your children may have faced when they were transitioning in to UTA. I understand both of your children transitioned in as freshmen, correct?
they did.
And so whenever Isaiah was a transfer student, correct?
Yeah, he was a transfer student.
Okay. So whenever they transitioned in, what were some of the notable obstacles or transitions they may have faced when in that transition?
For Isaiah, he's still in his transition because he's still so shy. Um, and with him being off campus, he's a little disconnected, but he has some connection to it, but it's just getting him to go with it. But then when classes are not on campus this semester, it's kind of, back to that, him not reaching out to make friends or meeting new people. So we were making some headway when he was able to go to campus, but now he's online. So
Yeah,
it's kind of a challenge for him for that.
We'll just blame everything on COVID.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that certainly made it difficult. I mean, even for mine, who came in with a group of friends and a group of siblings, it's hard when they can't see anyone. It really is. It makes classes a struggle. It makes studying a struggle. The one thing I've always told them is you have to find your group. You need a group. I don't care what it is, but you need some type of group. You need to participate and be an active participant in something there on campus. So
some sort of interest group, something that connects them to the university based on their interests or major or anything that kind of helps seal the bond to their experience for sure. Now, I know that we talk a lot. And when we had our meeting on Monday, I wanted to make sure that we talked a little bit more about your experience as parents and family members. I know that we all, as parents, kind of divert back to our students' experience and we sort of gloss over how we are feeling in whatever transition our students may be experiencing. I want to talk a little bit about what obstacles, transitions you have personally experienced since enrolling your students into UTA, and then how did you face them? How did you overcome them? How are you going through it currently? Tracy, we can start with you.
It's hard letting go. It's very hard letting go. I mean, not only were my kids active in high school, but I was an active volunteer in high school, and in college. You can't go and cut out things for the teacher. You can't be that participant. So that was my biggest struggle, was how do I continue to play a role in their lives when they've got this whole new life? What can I do to help them, but yet, nudge the baby birds out of the nest and let them spread their wings and fly. I mean, for us, that started at registration. The people that were there from the university that were helping the other students, I mean, they just did a phenomenal job. They kind of took them off of our hands and walked them through the process. And I mean, it was nice to see them be able to do that on their own and do those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. With me, I just this year is probably the harder year with letting go and letting him make decisions because he's the only child, so he's always like, well, what do you think I should do? Or he's always asking me for advice. So now I'm just kind of letting him. What do you think would be the best thing for you? Letting him think about and try to make that decision on his own. And then living with the consequences of his decision and not because I told him to do it. He can easily blame me. Well, you told me to do that. He's good at that.
He's good at turning it back to you.
Yes. And like when I come down and I go in his room and I'm looking, I'm like, okay, he knows his room needs to be clean. I'm not going to say it. So, just letting him own up to what he's doing and not because I corrected it or said something about it.
Do you both find yourself consciously having to kind of bite your tongue or not be as vocal about how you're internally feeling about decisions they're making, and kind of how do you become self-aware in the moment? Help us. I can't educate children yet, but I'm learning every day from you all on what to expect because it's coming soon. I have a freshman in high school, so it's gonna fly by really quickly. I know. So I'm learning, I'm kind of getting some tips from you all. So tell us a little bit about how you're kind of stopping yourself in the moment and give us some tips.
It's not coming easy. I will get started saying what I want to say, and then I'm like, oh, let me not say it. Let him think of it. Let him do it. It's really hard. So I'm still a work in progress. That one.
It's funny though, because I mean, mine just turned the triplets just turned 21 last week. And our youngest, who is at UTA, is 19 still. But my son, who is 21, called and asked if he could go to a political rally on Friday. It's like, son, why are you calling me and asking me? You're 21. You're an adult fully now. You know, you can buy alcohol. You can do pretty much anything at this point. So even when I'm not trying to give advice, they'll still call and say, hey, what do you think this is a good idea, or you think it's dangerous, or you think, can I do this? Should I do this? So I think it depends on the kid. Some of them are so much more ready for that responsibility and that autonomousness than others are. Our youngest he would have me walk him through every step of the day. But the oldest is like, I mean, he's just not that way.
Yeah. How have you redefined your parenting style over the years? I know that we talked a little bit about, you, in the moment, you stopping yourself and your children still kind of communicating with you. And I truly feel like that is a sign of their connection to you and to, them wanting to lean on their parents and family members for advice. This generation of students, they're more connected to their family members more so than ever before. And so they welcome a lot of the feedback and advice that we are able to provide them. Would you all agree?
Yeah,
for sure.
So I know that, sometimes as parents and family members, we kind of rely on our own experiences of how we were raised and the examples that we saw around us. As your students have, gone from high school to college and transitioned into UTA, and they're on their way toward graduation, tell us a little bit more about how you redefine parenting or your parenting style over the years, from parenting, coaching, to now being a trusted advisor.
It's more just about trying to suggest the tools. I mean, not giving them the answer. I mean, I could easily say, oh, okay, you got this bill, or you got this, here's what you do. It's more about, okay, well, who do you think you should call? Oh, well, they didn't answer, then, here's how I would handle it. And I use that a lot. Here's what I would do. You can do what you want to do, but here's what I would do. And let them make that decision. Kind of keep the guardrails, but the guardrails are pretty far away at this point. So
yeah, I would agree with that. Isaiah would call and the same thing, just, well, this happened, what should I do? And it's more of, just having the back and forth dialogue without me actually making the decision for him.
Yeah.
And he soon comes to his own conclusion. And, for the most part, he makes a good decision. I think he's just scared that he's going to do something wrong or something, but we have to learn from those things as well. So
yeah, it's a give and take and a learning experience for the entire family. I'm going to pause here and allow our participants to chime in and ask questions if you all have them. Please feel free to turn on your microphones and your cameras and shout out your questions to our panelists or to me. We're happy to answer them and welcome your feedback. Or you can certainly put it in the chat feature. We'll give you a moment to formulate what you'd like to say. I also want to ask, or even take a quick little poll too, while people are considering it. How many of you all have put your trusted advisor skills to the test since, let's say since August? Raise your virtual hand. And let's see how many of you have put your trusted advisor skills to the test. I love it. Yeah. If you want to share what you've done, I'd love it. I'd love to hear it and how you have helped your student.
Ms. Tasha Federal.
Yes,
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Yes.
Oh, excellent. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Hello, Mr. Sepulveda. How are you?
That's probably better. Yeah, one of the questions I got from my first year, student at UTA Federal is, again, first year and everything, and he's away. We're in Houston. He's in Arlington. But I told him, hey, first year, stay in school, find some work. If you need work, find it on campus. All this other stuff. And like I told the rest of my girls, the 3 girls, I said, hey, if you go somewhere else, there's no vehicle. There's a school. So the first question I got, maybe 2 months in, is, hey, I want to buy a vehicle. I'm like, okay, son, well, let's see what we can do about that. So sort of guiding them, and we're in the middle of that, but we'll see. all I'm doing is backing away and
Yeah, you're just moving the goalposts. Are you moving the goalposts further and further?
Yep.
So you don't have to address it.
Yep.
I think that's a good skill to have for sure. And by the way, I love that dad shirt on you. You're looking good, Maverick Dad.
Thanks for the shirt.
Of course. Anyone else like to share before we move on with our questions? Okay, so I do have a question for both of you. Tell us a little bit about what sort of programs or resources did you seek when your child first entered UTA? What type of books or articles, or what type of what did you do and where did you go to get the answers that you needed as a parent or family member? Alonda.
I kind of cheated. My cousin is at UTA, works there, so she's my go-to for everything. As far as things on campus, she has a wealth of knowledge, and she's been there a long time. And her daughter actually graduated from there, so it's kind of like a family thing going on with going there. But she's my go-to for all the questions that I have, basically. And then, after orientation, when I learned about the Parent Association, that was like a big help. That was probably the biggest help, and probably the main organization that I've gone to for questions or whatever, is going on. So.
Perfect. Thank you. Tracy, how about you?
Well, kind of like Alonda, I cheated. Some of my closest friends.
Hold on, I don't want this to be on record.
Some of my closest friends also sent their children to UTA, or their children chose to go to UTA. So there was a whole group of us. There was probably 4 or 5 of us that all of our kids were going through this at the same time. And so if someone was struggling to look for information, or, hey, what was the deadline for this? Or did your child finish filling that out? Or did we miss the last registration? Or when's your child registering? Or just any of those questions. I had several moms that I could reach out to and ask that of. And my kids could ask that of the kids that they'd known since kindergarten. So we were very lucky in that regard. There is a group online called Grown and Flown, and it's more just, little articles, little short reads, but some of them have been very timely for me. And just trying to put this time in focus that they truly are grown, and that we need to let them be grown, and just kind of support them as best we can. So that was also a resource. But Tasha was a resource for me. So.
You
You were. We met at one of the very first orientations,
I
and
remember.
you had timely advice for me and helped with the letting go process. So,
How do you all feel about that? I know that this is a kind of like a side question that I always like to maybe ask and pose parents and family members. How do you all feel about that term, that notion of letting go? Do you prefer letting go versus letting grow? And do you understand and see the difference and distinction between the two as a
Yeah.
parent and family member? Tell me about what your thoughts are around that.
I like the letting grow. That
I do too.
sounds more like what I'm doing, because I think as a mom, I'm probably never going to let go. There's going to be something there that, and especially because he's the only one. So it's like,
Yeah, he's your one and only.
yeah. But I do want him to grow and to be, what he wants to be, and whatever that is. He did just change his major to history, so he's more comfortable now, and he's glad he did it, and that's really a strong suit for him. So I think now he feels more comfortable with what he's doing, in his classes and everything. So, but he made that decision himself, which was good, after, talking to, about, well, what are you really going to, he had chosen anthropology at first. And so, well, what are you really going to do with that? And he couldn't really say, but all through school, from high, junior high and up, he's always been top history student, and it was like, really? That should have been your major. And he just thought about it. He was like, I think you're right. So he changed, and he's happier now. So
Yeah.
just watching him grow.
Michelle, I echo what you're saying. Yeah, the results of letting them grow when they determine their own moves, when they make their own decisions, and you can trust that they're doing it without you being present. They're doing the right thing.
Yep.
And no one's looking, right? They have demonstrated great integrity, right? Tracy, what are your sentiments or thoughts about it?
Oh, absolutely. And I had a conversation actually with Lainey today. She had been called into the advisor, and they told her that she could graduate in the spring. She would be graduating a full year early, and she's not ready to graduate. And she has the opportunity to do a double major. And so we talked about the benefits of that. We talked through, well, you could get these certifications, and and I told her several times in the conversation, this is totally up to you. You can graduate in the spring. If you're ready to do that, you can graduate in the spring. But if you're not, here's some other things to think about. You have a minor in this. Do you want to get a major in that instead of a minor? And just kind of walking her through the thought process, but letting the decision be theirs. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see somebody said that they homeschooled. Isaiah was homeschooled for a while too. So I had that opportunity to have the extra time with him before he went on to a private school that had part of it that was homeschooled. They went to school 3 days a week, and then they worked at home 2 days a week. So he was around a lot more than normal during his schooling. So with him, initially it was harder to get him interested in making sure he turned in his work, to now being in college and making sure he has grown enough that now it's like, I can't do anything, I got my homework, gotta do my homework, and making sure that he has time to get everything done. And so I can see that, that difference in him.
I want to delve into kind of change the direction a little bit, because I really want us to, with the remaining minutes that we have here on the call, I would really like for us to dive into knowing when to praise, worry, or panic. Sometimes as parents and family members, we may get ourselves in a bit of a situation where we may be taking on too much of our students' decision making choices for them that they may not necessarily make for themselves. And also maybe, you know, taking on the notion of worrying when your students aren't worried about it at all. You know what I mean? You know, that old notion of when someone calls and vents and unloads on you and you take on their problem, the weight of their problems, and they move on happily, you know? I really want to get a sense from you all how you're doing with that, and if you have any advice for parents and family members on what is the most effective way to praise, and the most effective way to not worry or panic. Just what's your thought? What are your thoughts about all of that?
I don't know. I'm not a person that usually really worries a lot about things. It may be on my mind, and I don't even know how to say that, but I'm not really a worrier. So when Isaiah brings things to me, we talk about it, you know, and I let him make that decision now. And I go with his decision. You know, if I need to get with him and talk with him about it later, I'm available for that. But I don't let the situation get the best of me. You know, I go on because I know that you know, there can be a good outcome or a learning situation. So I don't yeah, I never have been a worrier. I'm kind of thankful for that. I know people that worry, and I don't want to be that person. So
Tracy, you're the worrier.
Oh, I am professional grade.
You're professional grade. Tell us about what your thoughts are. What's your advice?
Oh, I mean, I always tell the kids they don't need to worry about it because they could never be as good of a worrier as I am. That I've got it all under control. And in our family, my husband worries about nothing. And I worry about.
He's the Alonda of the family, huh?
and I worry about everything. But you know, it's changed. I mean, it used to be grades and things like that, and it really changes, and you have to let them own those things. And I think I've done a good job in distancing those things and not worrying so much about those things. They are their grades, and as my husband so elegantly put it, their college education is theirs. We both have our college education, and whether or not they get their college education will change nothing about our lives. It will change where we go to visit them, but it won't change. It won't change our lives, and we will still love them and support them regardless of where their life takes them. So those are the things. But I worry about the little things. You know, oh, do they have lunch meat? Do they have something to eat? Do they have enough money to go to Panda Express on campus because they have a meeting today? Or it's those little things. But that's just me. If it wasn't that, it would be the dog or something else. That's like that. So
I understand. There is a presentation that I love, you know, sharing with families. And this summer we kind of revamped it a bit, and we called it the essential steps to becoming an effective trusted advisor. And one of the slides on there is an opportunity for me to share some tips with families on this very notion, when to panic, when to praise. And so it has to do with kind of being self-aware enough to know where that conversation is going with your student. If they're going down a path that is concerning, that you know that it's going to kind of worry you or make you a little nervous and panic, then you have to kind of stop the conversation in its track and say, hey, how do you want me to help you with this? You know, are you calling to just vent? You just want to unload and share what you got? Or do you really need help solving this problem? And that will help give you some direction on how to kind of behave and how to interact and react to what they're sharing with you. Now, if your student isn't calling at all, I am a firm believer that, you all being on the call today or even listening in after this presentation ends, it just shows that you are interested in learning more about how to help support your student, and the fact that you also may know your student like the back of your hand. And so if they aren't calling home, or if they aren't being really communicative to you whenever you all communicate on the phone, it's just another opportunity for you to find a different path and a different direction in how to communicate with your student. And it may not necessarily be a conversation with you. It might be another family member that can reach out to them and check in on them, doing a well check. Now, I'm not talking about the extreme examples of, students not communicating with their families over days. That's certainly an emergency situation, and you certainly should get in contact with your students' residence hall or apartment residence managerial office. But for those students that may not call home, within a day or two, and you're used to speaking to them once or twice a day, give them some time and maybe consider having another family member reach out to them and communicate with them. Would you all agree?
Yes.
I do. I have a small suggestion too, though.
Yeah.
I text with my kids all the time. They're all frequent texters with me, just to share something funny, a funny picture or whatever. But I know that not all kids are like that. And mine are even differ in their degrees of responsiveness and texting with me. But one of the things I've discovered they always will respond to are sending memes. Sending funny pictures from Instagram or Twitter or any type of social media. My son may not call home for anything for 3 days, but if I send him a funny picture of something, a dog doing something on Instagram, he'll reply with something. And so that's a good, I don't know, it's almost like you're checking in but not checking in, if that makes sense. You're letting them know, hey, I'm thinking about you. And I thought you would enjoy this, but it's not, what are you doing? Are you doing something you're not supposed to be doing? Where are you? It's not that kind of thing. So it's touching them, but not really questioning them or feeling like you're checking up on them, I guess.
Yeah, it's a touch point. It's a touch point. Yeah. I love that.
Isaiah's a caller. He will call me, and then tomorrow he'll call his dad, and then the next day he'll call his grandmother, and then back to me. So he's checking in, making sure. I don't know if he doesn't want to miss out on anything or what, but he's pretty much calling. Sometimes if I text him, I'll never get a reply.
And mine all act like a telephone is some foreign device they've never seen. I mean, they're like, hello?
Don't you dare put a rotary in front of them. They will lose it. Okay, so we're rounding our time out, and I don't want the conversation to end. It's going so well. Do you all have any questions for our panelists before we have them finish off? Any questions? I'll take a minute to pause. Okay. Well, let's do one last final word, piece of advice from our panelists, our experts here. What's your one piece of advice that you want to give to parents and family members before we close out the session? We'll start with you, Yolanda.
Oh. I don't know. My biggest thing with Isaiah is that I am always in his corner, encouraging him always and supporting the things that he wants to do. Some of the things that I've never heard of before, but after he explains them and it, shy of being hurt, I'm go for it. If you can do it, go for it. So I'm probably his biggest cheerleader.
Most of us are.
A great thing to be. Yep.
Tracy?
Just let them know that they're always loved, but let them let them own their grades, let them own their choice in majors, let them own whatever it is that they're pursuing. And if they take a job and want to quit after 2 weeks, let them own that 2-week entry on their resume. Let the world teach them some easy lessons now. Let them fail while they still have these bumpers to kind of give them that soft landing. But just let them own it at this stage. So
it builds grit and resilience, and this is, those things cannot be taught. They have to be experienced, unfortunately. And it'll help them become a well-rounded individual, and look back at those experiences, no matter how long it takes them to kind of come back to themselves or make a different decision for their lives. They'll be able to look back at that, and hopefully it'll be an experience that they learn from,
Encourage them to get involved. I mean, whether it's with their dorm as an advisor or whatever, just encourage them to be active in the university.
Yeah. I would agree. As we wrap up, everyone, let's give our panelists, Tracy Rhodes and Alonda Ford Harris, our biggest virtual hug and hand clap. My goodness, I could not have asked for a better evening to get insights, inspiration, and just overall, just kind of warms my heart that I know that parents and family members are out there receiving this. Thank you all so much for being on the call with us today. I have something coming for you, so don't hang up just yet, okay? I do have a few things that I want to cover before we end our call today. Just a few reminders for all of you on the call. This is a great opportunity for us to do some reminders with all of you about how moving forward. We're rounding out the semester. A lot of our students are involving themselves with midterms around this time now. Finals will be on the horizon very soon. And so I just have a few things that I want to share with you all about what we know for sure. Just make sure that you gather all the things that you've learned thus far and put them in your toolkit. Know your resources and use them whenever your students need them most. Practice positive patience with your students. They won't always make the best decisions. They won't always call home when you expect them to. And all the things that we expect them to, to take on and tackle as young adults. Just be patient with them. Encourage your students to communicate their needs often with the people that they have the most concerns with, conflict with. Communicate with you regularly and communicate those things early. Don't let them fester. Foster a positive environment of support and care for your student as they grow. Always share that with them. Don't assume that they know. Verbalize that. You want to make sure that you're creating a space for them to feel comfortable coming to you. And then if you have any questions or concerns, this office has been created for you, designed specifically for you, parents and family members. And so utilize us, utilize my team, myself and our 2 student liaisons. And then we also have Barbara Crow, our admin assistant, here on the call with us tonight. Please call us. We also have some friends of the family. We affectionately call them our friends of the family, but we have great campus partners that have resources and services and advice to provide all of you. If you have questions or concerns, we're more than happy to direct those calls. We also have one of our friends on the call, Liz Hannibus from Student Success and Academic Affairs. So please give our office a call. This is why we are in existence. We want to make sure we're creating an atmosphere and space for you all to ask your questions and share your concerns. We want to know about the highs and the lows. Let us know about it so that we can better support you. I also want to remind all of you members of the Maverick Parent Family Association, please be sure to have your student pick up testing materials. Like I mentioned before, it is midterms the time of year for midterms and finals, so they can pick up testing materials if they have hybrid courses or in-person courses at the Vice President of Student Affairs office in Suite 180D. We are located in the University Center. Our office is still under construction. We are working remotely through mid-July. I'm sorry, July, oh my goodness, but mid-November. We will be relocating our space. I'll share that information once it's ready and we're all moved in, and maybe I'll take some pictures and put them up in the portal. They can pick up those testing materials Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, okay? Also know that we do have some upcoming events tomorrow. Actually, I hope that all of you all join us and bring a friend. We do have Maverick Family Appreciation Day. We did do some Maverick Family Appreciation e-cards that we have been promoting for about 2 weeks now and shared it out on social media. We sent direct messages to your students. We've asked them to send you something special. So hopefully some of you have received something special from your students. If not, you might want to ask them, be like, hey, did you get something from the parent and family office? And maybe that might prompt them to send it to you, okay? But it's tomorrow from 4:30 to 6. We also will be having our scholarships ceremony during that time as well. It's going to be a fun time. We also have some giveaways from our friends from the Arlington Visitor and Convention Bureau. They have, oh man, we have some great incentives. So you want to make sure that you tap in. Also, we have session 9, the Road to Student Success with Off-Campus Mavericks. You'll learn all about that program for our students that don't live on campus. Then session 10 is our end of semester wrap up. We'll be talking about what you can expect for winter break, finals, final exam support, when students are returning. We'll talk about a lot of different things on that call, so you want to make sure you tap into that very last session. And then also look for an evaluation, the end of series evaluation that will come immediately following that. We also will be hosting some commencement activities for graduating seniors and their families. It has been put out there that commencement will be virtual again this semester. So we will be hosting our post-toast graduation celebration on December 17th. The time will be determined. And then lastly, Parent Family Weekend has been postponed to the spring semester, so look out for information late November with those details. Here's information about Maverick Family Appreciation. It is virtual tomorrow at 4:30 until 6. And then, oh yeah, I forgot to mention to you all that we have partnered with UTA Campus Recreation, and we have been hosting monthly family fitness classes. So you want to make sure that you tap in. It's an opportunity for you all to bond over fitness. Come on, we can do some burpees and crunches together, sweat it out. I want to see all of you on the call. We have our own very personal fitness instructor that helps support our families. So make sure that you tap in November 5th from 6 to 7. And do know that I've chosen these times because I know that families live very busy lives. So we've chose 12 o'clock lunch hour as well as the 6 p.m. hour so that it allows you the chance to get home from work and get settled in for a minute and then join us. So please tap into that before you go. All right, Zindi, we have 2 minutes left. Do you mind throwing one of the questions in the chat? I want to know what you learned today. I want to hear from you. Make sure that whenever you put it in the chat, we're just asking you to put a thumbs up or happy face or a sad face. The question is, was this session helpful to you, your family, and student? Give us a thumbs up or down. An emoji if you'd like. Thank you, Ms. Connor. I believe, Zindi, you had another question. I missed it. Awesome. All right, what's our second question? Oh, our second question is, after this session, would you be able to share the information you learned with your family and student? Give us a thumbs up. Definitely an emoji. If you just hover over the question, you'll be able to have a thumbs up, a heart, a smiley face. You can give us a sad face, surprise face. I don't want to see any mad faces, but if you have to, please put it on there. It's okay. I received the feedback. Wow, this has been great. It is now 7 o'clock. I do appreciate your time. Thank you all so much for attending. Remember, E-Series is defined as the essential information that engages, educates, and encourages the entire family. We really hope to see you at the next family-centered event. Thank you all so much for attending. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks so much.